So I think we have a good amount of people to start with. They will be joining in anyway. Let's begin our task. You can see the screen clearly, right? No problem. Everything is good. And as per practice, please answer on the chat window so everyone get a chance to answer about, and then we can discuss in detail. So this time I have been doing these things from a long time. Normally I was not reading the courses, but since few classes I've started reading it. The purpose of reading is not that I want to read it. Purpose of reading is what? That I want you to read as I am reading. So if you look at it, the team lead is having a coaching session with a team member. If we have noticed that your work is a few days late again, so there is something which is happening regularly. It is I took extra time to fine tune setting before handing off to the release team. Please don't be in rush when you're reading, okay? And especially when I'm explaining, please don't go here and there, and don't try to read out the full question. I took extra time to fine tune the setting. It is three things, right? We have done, if you guys remember, impediments, obstacles, and blocker. So it is one of them. It's not blocking the way, but it is delaying, right? It could be impediment or it could be taken as an obstacle, depending on the situation. Lead, okay. We have been through this. Lead means Scrum Master or team lead for the last 4 sprints, and we need to resolve it. So Scrum Master wants to resolve the problem, and this is what we call it, servant leadership. And what is the purpose of servant leadership? To facilitate. I am explaining you like this. We don't need to do an exam in that much time. You have to be fast enough. After sprint 3, you blamed a faulty technical step for the delay, but we found out that was not accurate, which means you lied also. Do you think you can give us more realistic estimates next time? So, okay, we have got your excuses, but come up to the right point. See, yes, I was wrong. I thought I was giving realistic estimates, but I found it after 3 steps, 3 sprints. My method is wrong. Do you want to do a planning session together so we can figure out a better way? Which means you want to do the planning session. Normally, planning sessions happen between the team and product owner. Yes, that would be helpful. So I know that my delay is causing stress on the team. So ultimately, there is a situation, and Scrum Master being as a main focal person, he's trying to facilitate his role so problems can be resolved. So you are trying to help others, and the concept is what? Emotional intelligence. Which 2 steps in emotional intelligence has his team member just realized? Has his team member just realized, not him? Self-control, self-discovery, self-assessment, self-definition, and self-management. And we need to select 2 answers. Please do not speak on the chat, on the mics. Try to speak on the, try to stand on the chat so everyone get a chance to provide the answers. So which 2 steps in emotional intelligence his team member realized? Not him. When it comes to control, is there something related to the angry situation or bad situation? Do you guys feel that there is something bad here? There's nothing bad here, right? So situation is calm. It's not out of control. So self-control is not required here. Self-discovery is used to find out that how much competent you are in which situation. So it's not about competency. What you are trying to do, majority of you have answered this, which is correct. What about others? Self-definition. There is self-definition done only for self, not for the others. So it cannot be the answer. So what you are trying to do, you are doing the self-assessment, and remaining answer is self-management. Because you want to improve, right? What you want to do, you want to improve it. It means you want to manage yourself in a better way. So this is what self-management, and ultimately it is also about self-assessment. I gave you the reason why it cannot be the answer. I gave you the reason why it cannot be the answer. I gave you the reason why it cannot be the answer. If it cannot be the answer, what could be written in the question so you can select this answer? And I told you this is the fastest way of learning. So when you select your answer, you are damn sure about that you have selected a right or correct answer. What could be in the question? Then you can select self-definition. Your mics are open, you can speak.
Sir, if he tried to justify himself.
Justify himself, or he wants to after self-assessment, he wants to make his roadmap, right? Where he want to be. Set as visions maybe. Similarly, if it is self-discovery, what could be written in the question? Something like your limits are defined. So you want to give it a shot. Can you do it or can you not do it? In iteration, this is called as what we call it? In Agile, we use a word called spike. And I told you spikes are of two types, risk-based or architecture-based. And why we do this? To understand where we are standing, isn't it? Any remembrance shot? And similarly, when there are the situations of conflict, then you will select the answer self-control. But here we have self-assessment as well as self-management. I hope answer is clear for all of you.
Yes, sir.
Let's go next. To improve, let me write it or read it in the same way. To improve its culture for workers, an organization's leader team wants to provide childcare services. Other personal services such as wellness, financial counseling are planned for the next calendar year. The project team needs to decide how to implement the new services. Leadership wants these services in place as soon as possible. The team holds a brainstorming sessions. Which two questions should the team explore to begin implementation of the service? Is this the part of the company's growth strategy? How will the company determine who is eligible for the services? How many team members, when they are saying wants to provide childcare services for workers? So, do you think B is the valid answer? Who is eligible?
No, sir.
It cannot be the valid answer. How many team members and which skills will be required to implement this service? Will the service be contracted out or maintained by company employees? What are the benefit of these services? This is your problem to understand what are the benefits, or this is HR department problem,
HR, sir.
right? So it's not the task of the team, right? Because question is about team. So now we have removed two answers and we need to remove one more answer. Company's growth strategy is the part of team or company's owner? The leadership, right? Company's growth strategy is not the task of the team. So it cannot be the correct answer. So remaining are C and D. How many team members are required and which skills, like what we are trying to do? T-shaped team or self-organizing team. And the best question is, we will do it by ourselves, or in procurement, what we call it, make or buy decisions,
By analysis, sir.
right? So these are the correct answers. So now once we have removed those wrong answers, you guys can easily find out, right? You guys agree with the explanation that how you can remove these impediments and you can reach to the right answer in a very clear way. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Let's go next. A project's goal is to improve a company's customer service process through automations and staff development. Teams sent initial surveys to the staff to assess their satisfaction and now analyzing their responses. These are the top four responses. The current process works fine. The current process needs fixing. We need better training. We do not need any more training. Which two activities should the project team perform first? Job satisfaction survey. I think they have already done it, right? This was the survey. Yes or no? You can use mics. Don't keep quiet. Don't try to read it. I'm reading for you.
Yes, the survey already, sir, they have done.
Survey already done, so it cannot be the answer. And likelihood to recommend survey. Survey was already done. Is it related to lesson learned?
No, sir.
It cannot be the answer. So remaining we have two answers, risk analysis and Moscow diagram. Moscow diagram means prioritizations. Which one among them needs to be fixed first? And what type of risk is involved? What is your risk taking capacity? So even if you don't know the answer of anything, what you can do, you can eliminate the wrong answers by connecting with the questions. So your answer can never be wrong. Point clear? Obed and Motion.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, it is clear, sir.
It's clear now.
Let's go next. Okay, so we have a person and a PM has drafted a PMP while working with the stakeholders. PM observed that key stakeholder priorities are vastly different from priorities of all other stakeholders. Key stakeholders say site upgrades, user improvements in a 9-month schedule. The stakeholders user improvement in a 3-month project schedule. Stakeholder A has openly stated that a broader scope and longer schedule are necessary for project success. What should the project manager do first in order to get this project management plan approved? Even if I remove the answers, all the answers, what you will tell me first? The problem here is what? Negotiations, right? You have to negotiate, you have to do the conflict management, and ultimately what you have to do? You have to do a facilitation session or focus group session or brainstorming session, or we can do the Delphi technique, right? Or white wine Delphi. to resolve the situation, to come on single point. Because there is no way you can start the project when stakeholders have conflicting statements and priorities. So let's go and read it. As the key stakeholder to present data to support the business case for a longer schedule. Sorry, ask the stakeholders to present the data for the broader scope. Negotiate with all stakeholders until they agree to common scope and schedule baselines. Facilitate a meeting with all stakeholders to the scope and schedule baseline. Proceed with the key stakeholder scope and schedule baselines. Baseline comes in the planning or initiating.
Planning, sir.
And where we are standing now?
We are in initiating, sir.
So these three can never be the right answers because they are what? True.
Yes, sir. Very clear, sir.
You don't need to even think about anything. Look at yourself where you are standing. The project has not started. The first thing we need is what? The reason for doing the project or charter maybe. So project charter is there only and we don't know anything else. Baseline will come at the planning stage. What they are asking? First, we have to first get onto the point. Look, everything is clear, maybe correct. If I remove this, this will be the right answer.
Right answer.
If I remove this, it will be the right answer. And proceed with the key stakeholders. No, we never work with the only key stakeholders. We work with the all stakeholders. So this can never be the right answer. So in our situation, A is the correct answer. If you know these things, that where you are standing, your life will be almost very easy because you know what has happened. Let's go next. An agile team has identified several risks during their last retro, including the chance of hiring a contractor to double the speed of critical investigations during the next iteration. How should the team classify the risk? Emergent means a new risk, threat, a negative risk, opportunity as a positive risk. What is risk which has not occurred? Yes or no? It's a future event, right? It has not occurred. When it has not occurred, can it be the issue?
Yes.
When the risk has not occurred,
No.
so it can never be the issue. So one answer is gone. Now, they are asking how should you classify? We can classify the risk as negative or positive. So it's a negative thing or positive thing that you want to double the speed. You got a chance. Chance means probability of something positive. So it means the answer is
B.
Correct. Gopal has already answered the correct. So that is the perfect way of dealing with the answers. Look, all of you guys who are sitting here, maybe you guys have very less information. Maybe you have not been preparing well. But if you have some senses from our training or from our continuous learning, what we keep doing on the WhatsApp and Facebook and so on, so you can easily go with the basic things. A production streamlining project is halfway complete. Okay. Team is working well. Company is having significant personal issues and has lost senior technicians to startup that were offering great service. To make matter worse, the VP requests to use the team most senior technical resource for a new project kicking off next week. What should the team lead do? Ask the VP if the resource can be shared until the streamlining project is complete. Make the case for keeping the resource to ensure project outcomes are realized. Reallocate the team member to manufacturing and hire two generalists for streamlining. Outsource the resource responsibility on the streamlining to a specialist. What has happened? VP request for a major new project for a more senior technical resource which is already busy on other projects. So what you will do? Ask the VP. This cannot be the right answer, right? If you have these type of words, they can rarely be the right answers. Ask the VP if the resource can be shared. He's asking you and you are asking him. Sorry. Now, reallocate the team member to manufacturing and hire two generalists for streamlining. You are already having issues and many people are leaving. So he's asking a senior person, you will hire a junior person. Is it okay? Someone is saying, give me senior and you are giving him junior. Will this be a right thing? Say yes, say no, say something.
No.
It can never be the right thing. He will create more conflicts. Outsource that resource responsibilities on the streamlining team to a specialist, which means override the existing team, right? So B or D, which one is the right answer? What do you think? Gopal has already answered the correct answer. Mohsin also said the right answer. Outsourcing will never help you to understand. The project outcome is the highest priority. So they should provide the senior resource. Look, if you guys remember, we were using a concept of resource smoothing. And similarly, PMO maintains the calendar for each project for resource sharing. Resource smoothing means that taking the resource from non-critical path resources and put it on the critical path because their outcome is high. So isn't the same thing happening here? We are getting the resource and putting them on those projects whose priority is higher. And then once you will finish, you will share the projects and you can make the decisions because of the resource calendar. Or if PMO is doing the portfolio management or program management, so it means they will be able to have a look that how much net present value of the cash is coming, what we are investing, and what is the output. So based upon this document, what they will do, they will perform resource smoothing, take the resources from non-critical projects and provide to the critical projects. Yes or no? Makes sense, right?
Yep.
Everyone will do the same thing in a similar situation because we need money first and as early as possible. So if you have these type of difficult questions, think logically. Don't think that, oh, with this type of English we have not read in the question somewhere. Just a basic understanding and you can find answers. Let's go next. At a company party, people are having a friendly, open conversation about which team is the fastest. One person laughs and say A has a velocity of 20, B has a velocity of 50, and a B member will be receiving bonuses. How should the leader of team A react? Be embarrassed. Any answer with these type of words will be wrong answers. You can directly eliminate it. Doing nothing or taking no action is also always the wrong answer. Similarly, say nothing, it's a party. Ask that person how they know this. and remind them this is against the company culture to be so competitive. They are discussing the verbal things. There's nothing called company culture here. Say nothing because each team has its own capacity and velocity is not used to compare teams. It's not about you finish 20, it's not about you finish 40. It's about the complexity of user stories. Maybe my user story is most difficult and your user stories are smaller and easier, isn't it? So that is about the velocity. It's not about the laughing, it's not about the embarrassment, it's about the capacity of the thing. But doing the thing like this that say nothing, it's a party. Everyone knows it's a party, it's not to be mentioned. So
Here
for
in
team,
point D also you have say nothing. So again
say
you have
nothing
nothing.
because it's a party, right? This
No,
means
I'm
because.
talking about the last point. You again have
Say
say
nothing
nothing.
because each team has its own capacity. That everyone understands that it's about velocity. Don't just keep quiet because it's a party. There is a logical reason behind your keeping quiet, not because of the party.
If in B it is saying say nothing, it's a party. So mean it's an open conversation.
Say nothing because it's a party, because if you speak in the party, the situation can be worst. We should not discuss official things in the party, right? We can make a laugh, but we cannot criticize in the party to someone. So it's out of the context that what you have to do, keep quiet, but it's not because of the reason that it's a party. You have to keep quiet because every team knows that they have their own capacity and velocity, right? Multiple teams are working. Maybe the other team have done only 10. So it doesn't mean that they are slow performers or so on. It's a basic understanding. And whose understanding? Team. Because team is what? Self-organizing and agile. So you don't need to worry about it. Team leader has to do anything with it. Team leader select the task or team select the task.
Team selects the task, sir.
So why should team leader be worried about it that they are doing 20 and they are doing 40? It's their own problem. It's their own strategy, own situations. So this is the situation. You have to complete the answer. Let's go next. Someone with partner with someone for something. Results are reviewed in the steering committee. Enterprise Z is clear about their preferences and tolerance in the service level agreement. What is the best tool to monitor the delivery of product? Scatter diagram, control chart, affinity diagram, or cause and effect diagram. Something has happened here. Something wrong has happened here in the question.
No.
So when there is nothing, so there is no cause and effect diagram, right? Scatter plot diagram is used for the issues, right? Tracking the relationship between two variables. So there is no issue, so there is no scatter diagram. Affinity diagram is used to group the requirement. So is there any grouping of requirement here? Not at all. It is about tolerances. So tolerances are done in the control chart where we define the upper limit and lower limit. Easy way of eliminating the wrong choices. Let's go next. An agile team is nearing the end of the project and has been able to complete. However, the coach has noticed that the standards are not up to the par. What should the team do? Update the definition of done. Team can do this. Who defines definition of done? Product owner, right? So this is not the task of team. Team will notify to the customer or product owner. Team can never reach to the customer directly. He has to go via product owner or via team lead. So this cannot be the answer. Add the work to the backlog or update the code during the sprint dedicated to ensure quality. This is the new work.
No.
So you cannot add new work, right? When it's not a new work, it cannot be updated to the backlog. So what you have to do? This is sometimes we call it iteration. There were two, iteration 0 and iteration H. Which one it is? Santil and Abel we discussed in the last session, which we completed last week.
H for quality.
Right, H for quality. So it means we are doing it in the iteration H to make sure whatever we are doing, it's up to the standards before reaching into the customer hand. So easily you can reach to the right answer again. Let's go next. Organization merge with someone. Look, with some, why I'm reading like this, so you guys also can do this, where you need to emphasize. PMO creates a team, they decide to prioritize of company processes, then figure out what needs to be done to create an interim organizations that meets the leadership need. Which two techniques should the project team use? Team, not PMO, not companies, team. Update the definition of done. We just said not possible. Oh, I think it's from the previous answers, right? It's not from it here. What should the project team use? Value stream, possible, but let's go further. Decision tree analysis. This prioritization is decision tree analysis. In decision tree, we choose an option, right? We don't prioritize. Decision tree can be answered. Yes or no? Someone is saying something, but I can't hear.
No, sir. Decision tree cannot.
Decision trees for the options. Gap analysis is the team task to find out what is best, right? Or no? For the process analysis, which techniques you can use for the leadership? Gopal, yes, your answers are correct, but let me hear from others. Two companies were merged, and now PMO is trying to find out what we can do. What we can do, right? This is the question here. If you will say your response, then I will give you a shortcut. What we can do, right? So you are doing from as is to be analysis. And this as is to be analysis is called as, yes, some of you are correct, gap analysis. As is to be is called as gap analysis. And that meets the leadership needs, and it is about process. So process should be streamlined. So yes, value stream mapping. Decision trees for the risk. When risk cannot be the answer, so this cannot be the answer. This is also about the risk, isn't it? As I told you, if you find more than one answer similar, they can never be the right answer. We can remove them easily. Now, someone can ask me that why we didn't select the brainstorming sessions. Why this cannot be the answer? Brainstorming we do for efficiency or we do for idea?
That is for idea.
So it's not for efficiency. So if it is not for efficiency, we cannot use it. We need something which is for efficiency. So gap analysis, where you are standing and removing the unnecessary things, so we can prioritize the process accordingly. So I hope something goes in your brain. Next, a PM joins a project, global team, fixed budgets, and very tight deadlines, which is normal for every project nowadays. How can PM avoid the scope creep? Look, you can always avoid the scope creep by filing an official change request. Isn't it? What is a scope creep? When customer asks to do something and you did it without updating the guidelines. So ask all development team leads to prepare detailed requirement, hold daily stand-up meetings, put any change to scope through the formal change request. I think I already answered it, right? Prevent stakeholders from direct interactions with the team leads. There's only one logical answer, which I already gave you the reason. Is there any better way to stop the scope creep?
Is to raise the change request.
The only reason is that he has to file the change request, otherwise no benefit. If the changes are not recorded, in which document we record the change request? What this document is called? Where we write down this is the change filed by whom, when, accepted, rejected, or deferred. The document is called as change log. Okay, now let's go next. Can you read the question and find the answer? Okay, sorry. A client is making a lot of small. I told you, whenever you have a lot of changes, what you have to do? You have to set and negotiate. Log each change request in the log. This is the very right answer. Reject the you never have the authority to reject, because who have the authority? Accept or reject? Change control board. Escalate the client behavior to the sponsor. You are there to complain. Are you the KG kid? Put the request in the iteration backlog. If you will do this, what you are doing? Gold plating or scope creep? If you do D, what will happen?
Scope creep.
It will happen as scope creep. So yes, A was the right answer, which many of you have already answered. Let's go next. Here's my pen, here's my pen. An agile team is in need of additional resources. Department decided to add another agile team. A few teams are possible candidates, so management decide on using performance test to decide which team to add for 10 iterations. Who should be responsible for hiring the new team? We said hiring and firing is not the task of project manager or team. They can never hire or never fire the team. So answer is very clear, right? Yes, Ganesh, correct. Team can never hire it. Providing the team or hiring the team is always the task of functional manager. Functional manager. Team lead and product owner request functional manager to provide them the team. So please don't fall into the trap that product owner or team lead hire the team. No, they don't hire the team. They acquire the team from functional manager. Like product owner acquire scrum master or team lead or coach, and then they both together hire a team or acquire the team from HR department or functional manager. That's what we discussed, if you guys remember, in all the classes. And I think we are going a good speed. Let's solve the last question for today and see how does it happen. An agile team has been asked to update the project artifacts because new team members are joining soon. Which of the following should be updated? Team. Team creates a vision statement.
No product. No.
Not at all. Burn up chart, milestone slip. There is something called milestone slip chart.
No.
Roadmap. Or story map. Oh, where is it? Story map or product map. Team created or product owner created? Product owner prioritize, right? And he provides you the roadmap. And we are talking about who? Team. So this cannot be the right answer also. So when new team members are joining soon, they need to be updated by the information radiators. So when they will update these information radiators, they can find out what is going on, what is being done, what is being awaited to be done, what is being awaited for the approvals. Correct?
The burn up chart is also an information radiator, right? So isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't
But
it the
in
same
this
thing? Then?
situation, yeah, burn up chart information radiator also includes Kanban, also include a Scrum board, also include task boards. while burn up chart is only for the tasks. How many tasks finished? The progress. But if I see burn up chart and burn down chart, or just two information databases, then it cannot be the right answer. Because burn up chart is what? How much work is remaining or completed?
Completed.
Completed. So you need to show them how much work is completed, plus you need to show them what work is remaining. We have to find out what work is remaining in the Kanban board or Agile board or Scrum board or task board. This is what to do in process and done, and another column could be required approval or something. So in this condition, because as we said, roadmap is the responsibility of PO, vision statement is also the responsibility of PO, and there is nothing called milestone slip chart. So that's how we do the eliminations. And if you know, like whenever I teach Agile or provide trainings on Agile, I always say, always remember these tasks, who can do what. So if you are aware about that what is needs to be done by which person, so it's always a better choice to eliminate it. That you know, team will do the work, team will not do this, it will be done by this person, it will not be done by this person. Your life will be easy. No need to worry about it. I hope the point is clear. We still have 10 minutes. Let's finish more questions. Why not? In a big movement. Okay. Our team is developing the HR module of software. During a site visit, client observes concerning data on the team's information radiators. Burndown chart depicts the progress of iterations. The team is 1/3 of the way through the iteration, but actual progress reflects the team is behind the planned progress. So planned value is more than earned value. This is the status, right? That's what we are going to discuss. Planned value is more than the earned value. The client expresses concern and asks the team lead to discuss with the product owner. How should the team lead respond? Advise the client that no action is required because team is in the middle of iteration. Ask the product owner to address the performance issues and search for the cause during the daily stand-up meeting. Is the task of product owner.
No. Scrum
Is the
Master.
task of Scrum Master or team lead. Is it possible to meet each team member? In any case, it can be a relevant answer. I don't know what is written. I'm saying you can do this. Meet with each team member individually to see who is underperforming. This is the right approach. What I have taught you, if you find these type of answers, these type of words in the answer, these are always the wrong answer. Any comments? Then ask the product owner to identify stories that can be pulled. Can we add or remove any user stories in the middle of the iteration?
No.
When the iteration is started, it can only be terminated, or the only thing we can do at the time of review or metrics. So this cannot be the answer. So in this situation, A seems to be the right answer, because you're in the middle of iteration and maybe they are going through a rough patch. But when the iteration will finish, then we monitor the progress. This is our rule, right? We don't stop the iteration in the middle for anything, and we measure the progress or velocity at the end of the iteration. Maybe the performance is slow now, but it will increase later on. I think majority of you from Pakistan and India. So we know that we have a cricket match of, let's suppose, 20 overs. Can I ask the question with the team why you are slow here? No, right? Until the whole match is finished. Then I can ask this question. But I cannot ask this question now. True or not?
True.
This point cannot be discussed on 12th over or 15th over. This question can only be asked in the retros after the 20 over game, that why we were unable to achieve the score in the defined timeline. So based upon the whole situation, A seems to be the right answer. Next. Okay. An experienced developer is asked to lead a project for software application. About 2 minutes into the project, clients want to know how change is being managed and wants to see the project management plan. Team lead tells the client this is an agile project, therefore there is no project management plan. Client escalate the issue to the sponsor. Tell the client that the team lead is in charge and able to manage the project however they wish. Team lead is in charge or product owner is in charge? Who's in charge of the project? Team lead or product owner?
Product owner.
Product owner. So this option is wrong. Tell the client that that is not in the contract to create a such document. If it is required, they need to submit a change request. There is no discussion of contract, right? Is there any discussion of contract in the question? Anyone sees any point of the contract in the question? It's about project management plan, not the contract. So, sorry, it cannot be the right answer. Tell the client that they will address the value and need for a project management plan with the team lead and ensure they will have one to review and approve by a specific date. Seems to be better answer. Let's go next. Ask the client what components of the project plan are being requested. What do you think? C is better answer or D is better answer?
C.
Even if you are working in the agile, there should be a high level plan which will work as a baseline to monitor your performances. So yes, C is the correct answer. And that leads to the end of the session.